Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube video. I'm Karen Rice and I'll be painting a wet in wet watercolour, Moonlit Waters. And I'm going to use the following watercolours here, a selection of Sennelier, Daniel Smith and Holbein watercolours. The actual list of materials that I'm going to use in this demonstration are going to be listed in the description below. Any questions you have, please put them in the comments section and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. As you can see, I've wet the watercolour paper and I'm now putting on the Mayan blue and the Paynes grey, wet in wet for the horizon. I'm doing a bit of tilting here just to let the paint colours flow into one another with the aid of a spray bottle to get the paint moving even more, because sometimes the water that you've wet the paper with dries up a little bit. So just letting it sort of flow to give it a lovely sort of skyline here. As you can see, I put framing tape around the edge of my paper. I'm using a gummed Winsor & Newton artist pad. It's a knot surface and it's 300 grams. Here I'm using a palette knife fully loaded with some Paynes grey on a wet surface, just sort of missing out bits so they create some lots of highlights here, using the flat of the palette knife but also the edge, just popping in a little bit of that lovely Daniel Smith Wisteria there, subtle beautiful pink, which I've also got in my sky. I'm just sort of bringing that down there. You can see just lovely puddling effect there. This is the Daniel Smith Shadow Violet. It's a beautiful colour, and as you can see it granulates so gorgeous. And the Mayan blue here I'm putting into the left just with my palette knife. It's just lovely. It's just so gorgeous, these colours mixed together, creating this really moody sort of atmospheric scene. Just tilting my board here, spraying, getting the paint moving, applying thicker Paynes grey just to the bottom corners to show some rocks in my painting. Just pulling down some of that Paynes grey there. It's so atmospheric, these colours, lovely darks, beautiful granulation effects, textured effects that especially the Daniel Smith colours have. I really like them, the subtle, beautiful greys and warm blues and cool blues, etc. I'm just painting a little tiny section of blue here for the waters with an Escoda round large brush. Beautiful point here. Again, the materials will be listed in the description below. So just sometimes I find it easier to paint sideways because it gets me to paint the line straight. Sometimes when I'm painting face on the right way up, I always do a bit of a wonky line, so it just helps me. So you might try that as a little tip. Just spraying again this corner. It's rather dark here, but look up close there, all that texture these colours make. They're simply beautiful. I just mop off all that excess water at the edge just to make sure it doesn't creep back into the painting. So just make sure you always keep cleaning up afterwards. It's a good idea actually to put, I've got sort of a piece of grey board here, but you could actually put an old towel down to catch all this water. Remember, when you're doing these sorts of effects, it can be very accidental, so be open to things that are going to happen, you know, sort of, it's very creative. I love using sea salt. As you can see, I've sprinkled some there, so you'll see the effects a bit later of the salt. It takes a little bit of time to absorb the paint. Again, I'm just spraying some of the very opaque paint off to the side. Try and always spray to the nearest edge rather than spraying water right back into your painting. I love spattering too. I'm just using a small brush and spattering that Mayan blue. It's a lovely cool colour by Daniel Smith. And I'm starting just the painting's semi-dry now. I'm just using some Winsor & Newton white. It's just students' white there, just putting it in there just to create a few more little highlights that I lost when I was painting wet in wet. But as you can see, the bottom right corner, the effects the salt has taken, it sort of lifts the paint and creates some beautiful textures. I love using it, and you never know quite what you're going to get, so just be open to the different things that it does. So just finishing off just those little tiny finishing points, just putting some highlights here and there that, again, I say I lost when I was painting the wet on wet. The other way you could do that is to put some masking fluid in, but because this technique or this sort of way of painting is so loose, you're not quite sure the masking fluid is actually going to be in the right place. So this way you can actually decide, and there's no harm using a little bit of white, opaque white, right at the end of a painting. I don't really like mixing it too much with watercolour, but I do like to add it on the end of my painting towards the end. And just softening some of those whites there. They look a little bit harsh, so I'm just softening them back there. So just taking off the final reveal, the masking tape, to reveal that lovely crisp white edge. Thanks so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.